Hello, everyone. It's time for another installment of Heritage and History with Maureen Taylor and
Amy Johnson Crow.
Right. And so we're not sure how many of listeners we'll have today. And if you can hear that tinkling in the background, that's
Yeah.
Amy's cat playing with her
Yeah.
mini blinds.
Yeah, she's a curious cat. Of course, I think that's kind of redundant, but it's a bright, sunny day here in Central Ohio. And so I've got my mini blinds not only down, but I have them turned closed because I was getting so much glare. Okay, there she goes. Okay, bye, Rosie. Yeah. And of course, that's when my cat decides that she has to look outside. So,
Exactly.
yeah, she's
Exactly. Right. Right. We don't have small children dipping into our live presentations, but we do have pets.
we do have pets.
Right. So for those of you that don't know what Heritage and History is, it's where Amy and I talk about things that are happening in the fields. Sometimes we mention books that we're reading. Sometimes we mention websites that we're using. And sometimes we just chatter. But
Sometimes all of the above.
sometimes all of the above. So last 2 weeks ago now, God, it's been 2 whole weeks. I went to the Federation of Genealogical Society conference, FGS, in Washington, D.C., and it was great to be in Washington. I was there for Librarians Day, and Librarians Day was held entirely at the Library of Congress.
Nice.
And you could sign up for lectures with various department heads or department people. So you could listen to a lecture about prints and photographs, which of course I did.
Let's see. I wonder which
No-brainer.
one Maureen chose.
Right. And then I sort of listened in on the one in the map department. But it was really, really interesting to just, I mean, it's just really cool to just be there. You know, just the Library of Congress is just the most amazing place.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So while I was in prints and photographs, I asked them, you know, I have in my mind that the Library of Congress has everything, and that's of course not true.
Yeah.
And in the prints and photographs department, they make a big deal out of how they have 16 million items in the collection.
Yeah.
But only 1.5 are actually digitized.
Oh.
So you can go in and do extra research. So obviously I was looking for Providence, Rhode Island stuff for my old Providence project, and discovered that, in fact, my collection is like 5 times as large or 10 times as large as the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
I was thinking there'd be all this stuff that I hadn't seen before, and they had some beautiful view books, you know, those souvenir books that you could buy. But mostly I have a whole lot more than they do, like many times over.
Yeah.
So there was that moment of deep disappointment, and I thought I have to get more creative here. So I popped over to Motion Picture Film, which is right across the hall.
Yeah.
And they had a few early movies of Providence.
Ooh, how cool is that?
It was very cool. They wouldn't let me actually copy or download the movies because they have a rule about that. But they did let me do screenshots of some of the amazing scenes of like all the senior members of the Narragansett tribe at a event.
Very cool.
Yeah, I have enough to write about for the next, year just from that visit.
As if you didn't already have enough to write about.
I really have to weed down that collection of mine. It's out of control.
Yeah, well, but it's
anyway.
Yeah.
So then I went to FGS, and there were great lectures to listen to. I don't know if any of you actually went to FGS. I think the fear was Washington, D.C. would be super expensive. And in fact, the hotel was in a part of town. Somebody's asking me. The Library of Congress, which is the Library of the United States, is what I went to. Yep. But the hotel was reasonably priced. There were plenty of food options nearby. And Washington is incredibly easy to get around due to the metro. You can just hop on, hop off, and you're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the metro is awesome. I've really enjoyed the metro, every time that I've gone to DC. I didn't make it to FGS this year. This is the first FGS conference that I've missed in over a decade.
Well, I was going to say, I always see you there. We always do
Yeah.
a little live thing from
Yeah.
FGS, which we missed.
Yeah, we missed. But yeah, it just wasn't working out schedule-wise for me this year with other stuff going on. Have to take care of the living family members. Sometimes we can't pay all of our attention to
Right, the living ancestors.
Yeah, living ancestors. We have to pay some attention to them. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, definitely. But it was good. And as I don't know, I know you wrote an article about it right after the announcement.
Yeah.
Which is, Julie is saying, thoughts on the merger?
I have thoughts on the merger.
I have thoughts on the merger too.
Okay, so my thoughts, I'm just going to jump right in.
Sure.
My thoughts, it seems like everybody is concentrating on the conferences. And there has been talk for years, I mean, especially since Roots Tech got going, of, well, why don't they combine their efforts and have one conference?
Right.
Okay, well, that's all well and good, I guess. But the merger is not just the conferences, it's merging the two organizations. Where there had been two separate organizations, now there's just going to be one. And where I'm concerned is that the two organizations actually have different missions.
That's what I was going to say. That's what no one's really focusing on.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thinks, great, they're thinking of one conference. Won't that be fabulous? But then they are merging two totally different organizations.
Yeah.
One is focused on individual researchers, professional researchers for the most part. Yeah. And one is focused on the societies.
Yeah, and helping societies be better, be stronger organizations. So they have two very different core missions. Right. And I know that they've talked about how they are going to serve both. I think it should be recapped that the merged organization will have the name the National Genealogical Society. So NGS keeps their name. There's only going to be one conference. It's going to be in the spring when NGS is. So NGS has almost always been in either May or June. FGS has traditionally been in August or very early September. Right. But the conferences going out now, next year in 2020, they're still going to have their separate conferences because all those contracts and everything had already been set up. So they are going to have separate conferences next year. But the first merge conference will be in 2021, and that will be in May in, I want to say, Richmond, Virginia, yes. I think.
Yes, Richmond, which was a big conference for NGS each time. Mm-hmm. So I did actually pin down someone on the board of NGS while I was there, and asked them, what this meant for FGS. I asked a lot of pointed questions, made people a little shuffly-footed, and their plan, perhaps, is to make FGS a division of NGS, to not get rid of the mission of FGS. Now, did NGS take over or merge with
GenTech?
GenTech, which the pledge then
was the same thing.
Was to keep it alive, and in fact, it disappeared. It'd be completely gobbled up by NGS.
Yeah. GenTech. And when you mention GenTech now, people say, "Well, you mean Roots Tech?" No, I mean GenTech. It was
different.
It was different. It was its own organization. They had their own conference. It was very much genealogy and technology. That was their thing.
It was before Roots Tech.
Way before Roots Tech.
Way before Roots Tech. It was focused on genealogy technology, and it was successful. I went in Boston, and we had
I did too.
How many? More than 1,000.
Yeah, it was, for a very specialized conference, it was huge. And, by everything looking from the outside in, I was never involved in anything in terms of organizing or anything. I went as an attendee. I spoke there at least one conference, but then they merged with NGS.
Disappeared.
Within a couple of years, GenTech. I think that they had a column in the NGS magazine for a couple of years, but then boom, it was, now you don't hear about it. So, and I know I'm going to make a lot of people upset and squeamish when I say this, but I worry about the mission of what FGS is supposed to be doing, seeing how the merger of NGS and GenTech went, just relatively just a few years ago.
In fact, that is the concern of just about anyone who's been around long enough to know that the two once existed.
Yeah.
That this has that there's something that happened before this. I understand the organizations are struggling, the conferences are shrinking. One of the things I said to the people at NGS was, if you're going to shake it all up, then seriously, shake it all up from top to bottom.
Yep.
And, change things. Specifically, I'm an exhibitor. Mm-hmm. I exhibit under my name, MaureenTaylor.com. You've exhibited a couple of times now, Amy. You know what it's like. You're in that booth. You get a free registration, but unless you have someone working in your booth, you can't go. Yeah. You can't participate in ways you'd like to participate. People are in the lectures. They're not in the exhibit hall. Mix it all up. Yeah. Change the model.
Yeah. And
make the exhibit hall a shorter amount of time, or a different kind of day, or more unopposed time, or really, really mix it up.
Or do a model like they do in the UK with the Who Do You Think You Are, where the emphasis is on the exhibit hall and the lectures are almost secondary.
Why not do that?
Just do something completely different. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope that I'm wrong about my concerns.
We're in agreement on this, and I hope that I'm wrong. And I know there are people listening who are not going to like us talking about this, but we love these organizations.
Yeah, I've been.
This is our field.
I've been on the board of NGS many years ago. I was never on the board of FGS, but I've served in so many volunteer capacities with them. Mm-hmm. FGS especially has been an organization that's been very near and dear to my heart. And now more than ever, genealogy societies need help. There is so much competition for getting volunteers and keeping the money flowing in. So they have the challenges, but the purpose of genealogy societies is still critical for genealogists everywhere.
Well, FGS offers a particular program for little societies.
Exactly.
They need that support. They're all brought together, and maybe NGS is thinking this is great for them because they're going to bring all these people under the organization. But there needs to be a change in their mission if that's what they're going to do. I mean, we all have some concerns about this. Now, one of the things that happened this year at the FGS conference, which was very cool, actually, this was a really positive thing. And maybe there are vendors who have done this in the past, but I sometimes lecture in the Family Tree Maker booth. And they ask me to do that. And, I just talk for a few minutes, really. And I like meeting everyone. But this year for FGS, they sent out a mailing to their users just a couple of days before the conference, because they weren't sure. I think they were going to do it. And they advertised that I was going to be in the booth, and that and other people would be in the booth. And here's a list of all the lectures, and you could pre-register for them. All the lectures were free. Yeah. They brought in an extra 200 people just for my talks.
Yeah.
So, and the exhibit hall was free, and all of these people came in for this conference, and they were like, we didn't even know this was here. One woman came up to me and she said, I live across the street, and I did not know that this was happening.
Yeah. So Yeah, like you said earlier, if they can shake things up, and
Shake it up.
because obviously the current conference model is not working and has not been working. I mean, I'm still a firm believer that there is a place for in-person events.
Yes.
I'm not saying that, just completely get rid of a conference. I think that you need a mix, because sometimes, I mean, let's be honest, you and I both do a lot of virtual teaching, a lot
Yes,
of
we
online.
do.
I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
But there is still a place for in-person events. But I think that the model that we've been having, since long before you and I ever got involved with it, it's just not working.
It's the old school model, and it needs to
Yeah,
change.
it does.
But I think there is a place for in-person education, and here's why it works. Because when you're in that classroom, you are in that classroom with a group of people of similar interests. It gives you a moment to bond with them, to meet other researchers. I mean, not everyone in our lives is interested in family history.
Right.
But when you go to one of these conferences, you can talk endlessly about what you're interested in, and there will be willing people listening to you, nodding their heads and saying, this is great. And for us vendors, it's a great opportunity for us to talk business, and for us to talk about what's new, and chat about where we're taking our businesses or products that, are new, or, what, I mean, it's just so many reasons to continue a conference, but I think they have to change the model.
Yeah, I agree. I did see, well, because after they had the announcement of the merger, which was at their opening session at FGS, the president of FGS, Faye Stallings, and the president of NGS, Ben Spratling, had a press conference that FGS actually live streamed on their Facebook page. Thank goodness. And they were talking about specifically the conferences. And one of the things they mentioned was for the society management topics of adding a 5th day to the beginning of the conference that would be devoted to to genealogy society topics.
Right.
Okay, so you're taking a conference that's already 4 days, which already feels long for exhibitors and attendees, and you want to add a 5th day at the beginning for something that is very specialized.
I think something has to go.
I was going to say, I hope that I'm wrong about this, but I don't see that as being a workable model. I really don't.
Well, it's 5 days.
Yeah.
It's more time in the hotel. Yeah. It costs you more money.
Yeah. So I'm nervous about this.
Yeah, I'm nervous about it too. I mean, I'll be at FGS next year. I have that in my calendar. I love Kansas City, and I'm looking forward to, sending off FGS with a bang.
Yeah.
And seeing what happens. They have not notified speakers yet or anything, so I don't know what's happening with all of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the contracts are signed, so I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping it's all going to go forward.
Yeah.
Well, we just went off on a rant, didn't we?
That's why these are so fun, because you never know what we're going to talk about.
We had plans to talk about something totally different.
Oh totally different.
It wasn't even related to this topic, but this is something that many professionals are talking about.
Yeah.
For us as lecturers, yes, it's one less conference, but it's also one less stream of income.
Well, and for exhibitors, it's also one less conference.
Yes.
So looking at it both ways there. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of years to see how this all shakes out.
Right. So I'm not going to be at NGS in Salt Lake City next year.
Yeah, I don't think I will be either.
Yeah, no, I'm taking a break from that. I have some other things I'm working on, but I'm planning on being at FGS, at least as an exhibitor, hopefully as a speaker.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. then we'll see. How about all of you listeners out there?
Since we've ranted.
We've ranted. Which conferences have you been to? Have you been to NGS and FGS, or mostly you just go to Roots Tech, or
do you go to any in person?
Or do you go to any in person? Is it all virtual? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
I will say that I got to see Melissa. She commented and she said, "Thank you for letting me be a fangirl."
One of these days, Melissa. One of these days.
Yeah,
Roots
you'll
Tech.
get her.
You'll
get her, Melissa.
I'll be at Roots Tech.
Me too.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah. One talk in a booth.
Yeah, I've got 2 talks in a booth.
Oh, you are going to do a booth?
I have it reserved. I'd like to do the booth. Well, you know how it is. I mean, last year was my first, well, I should say this year was my first year exhibiting solo at Roots Tech.
And I wasn't even there to offer you any support.
I know.
I was supposed to be right near you, I think.
Yeah, we were supposed to have adjoining booths and everything. We were going to be booth buddies. But no, you had to go and break your ankle.
I had to go step in a pothole. It's a creative explanation.
I mean, if you didn't want to go, there are easier ways of getting out of going to a conference, Maureen. You know, you don't have to.
Or easier.
You don't have to end up on a knee cart. I mean, there are easier ways.
Oh, if only I'd had a knee cart. I had crutches.
Oh, ow.
They don't give me a knee cart. They give me crutches.
Oh, that's bummer. There are definitely easier ways of getting out of a conference, though.
Yeah, many ways. Yeah, I've been really careful after that. I don't know. So here we are, Amy.
Here we are, Maureen.
Thinking about the future of our field. I am going to the genealogy event in Birmingham in next June, and I am very, very interested in seeing what Kirsty Gray does with the conference. There are 3 keynote speakers, and we are all women.
Very cool.
Which is very different than the rest of the conferences where it is mostly men.
Yeah, I was surprised with some keynote selections for a conference not to be named.
Yes. So Kirsty's mixing it up, and she's really advertising her conference on social media in a very creative way. Yeah. I have a great admiration for what she's trying to do. She's a woman-owned business trying to launch a major conference in her field, in her country, and she's you got a lot of energy for it. So, I think let's see what the conference looks like over there. I think that there are ways for all of the conferences to incorporate things that work.
Yes. And I think that if we also look at some events outside of genealogy and be willing to bring some of those ideas in, of what could work. And I think that's something that a lot of genealogy societies could also stand to do.
Well, I went to ALA this year.
Yeah.
And they opened the exhibit hall the night before the conference really started. And it was just for conference attendees. And there was a lot happening. Yeah. There were special events, and there were giveaways, and there was drink, like you pick up a bottle of water. Okay,
you didn't see the right booths. Because
there's alcohol.
There is alcohol.
Yeah, there's alcohol
at the opening night of the ALA exhibits. So
it was crazy in there.
It is insane.
It is a major part of the show. Yeah. Of the conference, and that as an exhibitor is something I would love to see at one of the genealogy conferences. Yeah. Like
Roots Tech has something kind of like that.
Did they do that last year, this year?
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a few sessions during the day on Wednesday. Then Wednesday afternoon, they had the first major keynote with Steve Rockwood. And then it was everybody go to the exhibit hall. And then the exhibit hall was open for like 2.5 hours.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Because then everybody was in there. It was awesome.
Right. And the exhibit hall is a whole lot more than just shopping.
Yeah.
All the major booths have speakers that talk about niche little, not always, but I'm thinking topics that might not make it to the program, but doesn't mean you're not interested in it. So when I say niche, I don't mean, small number of people would be interested.
Yeah, but like in the family search booth, they'll have a session just on how to use this one thing in the family search tree, or something like that.
One little thing, right? Yeah. Or Krista talking about tagging, the new tagging in Ancestry or Throughline.
Booth, yeah.
Or, when I'm in Family Tree Maker booth, I'm talking about how you can incorporate your family photographs into Family Tree Maker. Kate Keller, who's a frequent watcher of our says that she attends the OGS conference and the FGS conference, sometimes in person, but mostly she's virtual. Yeah, mostly she's virtual. And I'm going to offer my first virtual through my website business this fall.
Fun.
So stay tuned.
Yay. That's exciting.
I know there are topics that I would love to talk about, and the conferences don't pick them up because they think they're too, narrow. But I know that there are people interested, and I'm going to give it a whirl.
Hey, it doesn't hurt to try.
It doesn't hurt to try.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Amy and I had planned to talk about Labor Day.
Oh, yeah. That topic just kind of went.
It just went. There was a prompt in your 52 weeks.
It was my 52 ancestors in 52 weeks. The theme last week was at work. And yeah, it was interesting to see the photos that people were posting. There were some great photos. There was this one man, Andy Likens, who has been doing a lot of his posts on Instagram. And
Andy Likens.
Yeah, he has. I swear, Andy Likens has the best ancestral photos of anyone. I mean,
I'm gonna check him out.
It is incredible. I forget his actual username, but yeah, Andy Likens.
Send it to me, Amy.
I will definitely send it to you because you would enjoy following him on Instagram.
I'm an Instagram addict.
I know you are. I've been looking a lot more than posting lately, but he had this photo of, I think it was like his great aunt who was a telephone operator.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and she had.
How I know him.
Yeah, she had the hair, and I mean, it was like, it was the best picture.
I love the pictures of people at work or in work clothing because you learn so much about them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so hard to know exactly what they did, especially in an unidentified photograph. Is an identified photo, you can research them, right? You can use census records and city directories and all the stuff that we use to find out more about what their occupation might be. But, if it's an unidentified photograph and they've got a piece of machinery, it's like, who can help with that?
Yeah.
So we did get a comment on our reach out for, let's see if I can get this to work. So many changes to this platform. So Ellen says that although she's an NGS member, she gets more personal research info and help from local, state, regional society meetings and publications. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
But that she burned out on national conferences. I can see that.
Yeah.
I love my friends. That's why I go.
Yeah, it is kind of like a family reunion.
It is like a family reunion. We often talk about that, right? We talk about, us professionals talk about how we have our family, and then we have our genealogy family.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been quite a lively conversation. Hopefully,
not at all what we had planned, but I do think though it's a topic that needs to be discussed, that it isn't just the conferences that are merging. And, like I said, and you agreed, we hope we're wrong about this, but got concerns.
Yeah.
Got concerns.
Yeah. NGS and FGS need to work on this to come up with an inclusionary
Yes.
process.
Yeah.
And I say, as we have repeated many times, mix it all up, change the model, make it fresh, make it new.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when the first genealogy conference was. Do you?
I don't know.
A long time ago. Was it in the 70s, maybe?
Oh, easily in the 70s.
My first national conference was, I'm afraid to say.
My first national conference would have been 1998.
Mine was 95.
Yeah. It was either 98 or 99. It was whatever year FGS was in Cincinnati. That was my first national conference.
That was King of Prussia.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I missed that one.
That's the one. That was 1995, I believe.
Okay, so let's say 1999. 20 years ago, right? If I'm doing my math right. It's like, yeah, I have.
Right. So I've been on the national circuit for 24 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been on for 20 because I spoke at the first one I attended.
Right. And I spoke at 95. I was the luncheon speaker. That's when I was working for New England Historic Genealogical Society.
Right. So 25 years. And the event itself.
We need a pin.
Yeah, we do need a pin. But in those 25 years, really, how much has changed in the event itself? It hasn't. And do you know anything that is growing and thriving that has not changed in 25 years? I can't think of anything.
No, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they changed the content a little bit. I can't remember all the details, but basically the model is the same.
The model is the same. You go as an attendee, you have a keynote, and then you go to sessions where you sit for an hour, you have a break, you go to lunch.
Dinners.
Yeah.
You go to the exhibit hall. It's all the same.
It's all the same. Nothing has changed. It's time. It is beyond time to change it up. Yeah.
Mix it up. I remember when, I forget which conference it was, NGS or FGS. Ooh, maybe it was FGS. They had a track just for kids, not for
yeah, I remember
education for children. I actually lectured in it many times.
Yeah.
They don't do that. They don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
The first conference, here we go. Kate Keller. Thank you so much, Kate. According to the article on genealogy.com, the first national conference was in 1981 and was in Atlanta, Georgia. It was an NGS conference.
Yeah.
Okay, so 81, we're talking 38 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, almost 40 years. I don't know anything that can survive and not change in 40 years.
Lisa, I hope you've been listening since the beginning. So she wants to know what we do to change it.
Yeah.
I have opinions about the exhibit hall for sure.
Yeah.
I've been exhibiting since the early 2000s. And it's been a long time sitting in a booth.
Yeah, attendees don't have enough time in the exhibit hall. The learning as a whole is very passive. You're sitting there and just absorbing information.
Well, the exhibit hall has changed a lot since 1981.
Yeah.
Because several years ago, and I forget when that was, suddenly the exhibitors started offering classes in the exhibit hall.
Well, yeah.
And that's not that old.
No.
So that's a big change.
Yeah, that is a change. But in terms of attendees, they still don't have much time in the exhibit hall.
No, hardly any.
Yeah.
Hardly any. The New England Regional Conference, for instance, does a lot of unopposed exhibitor time to encourage people to come in, but it needs to be more than that.
Yeah. One thing that I did like that FGS did in 2017 in Pittsburgh was have the lunches in the exhibit hall.
That was not a great conference.
Well, the thing
visiting wise,
right, but it was it was at least an attempt to get people in the exhibit hall.
Yes.
Because if you were going to eat lunch, you had to go to the exhibit hall.
Right. And FGS does the vendor box.
Yeah.
Which accounts for a lot of sales. If you don't go to the national conferences, and FGS's vendor bucks basically gives you a $10 certificate.
Yeah.
You spend that in the exhibit hall, the vendor, signs off on it, and you get your $10 back.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we go.
It's basically so
Yvonne says that she's been at 2 Roots Tech, and she found that she learned more listening to the short half-hour presentations in the exhibit hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the whole let's sit for an hour and just passively absorb information, that's fine for a day. But after the second day, you're getting into the third day, and some conferences, then you get into a fourth day, your brain is on overload. How much are you really retaining?
It could be the 4-day conference is just too long.
Honestly, I've always thought that 4 days is too long for a conference.
Yeah, it's too long. 3 days is good.
3 days is good.
Yeah.
You can do 3 days. 4 days.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers anything that they hear on Saturday.
No, but you have to keep Saturday in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people take the day off to go.
Oh yeah. No, I agree from
Saturday off, so they
right,
go.
From a scheduling standpoint, Saturday makes sense, but I would rather Saturday be a third day, not Saturday be the fourth day.
Yes, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, we've gone way over our usual 30 minutes.
We apparently had a lot to say today.
We apparently had many opinions.
We did. We do.
Yes. Well, anyway, we hope, and I know I speak for Amy on this, that we hope that anyone who's in the path of that horrible storm, that it does not come ashore anywhere on the East Coast. I know I'm in Rhode Island, and the news is already talking about what the weekend might be like here. So it all depends on the wiggle and the wobble of that storm.
Which is it's just not moving.
Who ever heard of a storm going 1 mile an hour?
Yeah, that's insane.
I can walk faster than that.
Even with your crutches.
Even with the crutches, I could do more than a mile an hour. But anyway, we hope everyone is safe. And thank you for joining us today. And we have not set a date. We always manage not to do this until we get online. When in October would you like to do this?
How about Tuesday, October 1st?
How about the 8th?
We can do that.
I'm going on a big trip at the end of September.
Ooh.
I will be brain dead on the 1st.
Okay, we don't want you doing this brain dead. So
I simply cannot do this. It will feel like the middle of the night.
Okay, we will do October 8th then.
At 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock. I'm writing it down.
And we do not know what we're going to talk about yet, but thank you for joining us.
We thought we knew what we were going to talk about today, and we were wrong. So,
well, it's Family History Month, so I'm sure we'll have more to pontificate about.
Of course.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you on October 8th.